Welcome to CPXL. This podcast of CrossPoint Church is designed to encourage you to go further and grow deeper. CrossPoint is a rural multi-site church committed to taking the gospel to every place and everyone. You can access all CrossPoint resources at crosspointchurch.com. But now, let's join this episode of CPXL with your host, Pastor Andy Addis.
And in the wonderful year 2025, also with the Mrs. Most Wonderful Addis. How are we doing? Starting the new year?
Doing well, thank you.
Well, it is so good to be back with you. We had planned on, in this last year, finishing up the book of Proverbs. We got all the way to chapter 18. And so we are here in chapter 19, picking up the new year. We will finish.
We will finish.
We will rebuild. We are actually in a study. If you've been with us, we took a few weeks off over Christmas break. And when I say took a few weeks off, it's because this is tertiary. This is a Bible study that we love to do when we can, but getting through the Super Bowl at Christmas Eve and all of that stuff, it kind of took a back burner. But now we're back at it.
That's right.
We're working hard here at the beginning of 2025.
We're in it.
CPXL, CrossPoint Extra Large. It is Bible study for the midweek to get you a little deeper in the Word. And we are studying the book of Proverbs. So if you haven't been with us, that's fine. You can jump in at any point. But the pattern is we read a chapter every week, and then we're going to come back and discuss just a little bit of it as a way to just encourage you. And so this week, if you haven't already done so, then when we're done with the podcast, read Proverbs chapter 19, and we're going to focus on 3 verses, 2 of them together, 1 of them apart, and I'm calling this A Better You. Be a better you. At the beginning of a new year, everybody's resolutions, and we're all gonna lose weight and make more money and treat our families better.
Work out.
I hope that that's the case for us, but in lieu of the fact that we might need a little help, let's look at the wisdom of the book of Proverbs for some help on being a better you. I want to read Proverbs chapter 19, verses 1 and 2, and then in a little bit we're going to go down and read verse 19 as well. Okay. But you in the New Living Translation over there, why don't you read verses 1 and 2 for us?
Okay. Verses 1 and 2. Better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and a fool. Enthusiasm without knowledge is no good. Haste makes mistakes.
And then I'm going to read verse 19, which is going to round this out for us. I believe that the whole chapter is kind of on this theme, but these kind of reflect the be a better you. Verse 19 says, "A man of great wrath will pay the penalty, for if you deliver him, you will only have to do it again." All right, so I want to make just a few points. Let's be a better you. Let's do what we got to do here. If you've got some resolutions and you've got some goals and you've got some plans, I think that's great. I think those are good.
Sure.
But spiritually speaking, let's see what the book of Proverbs has to share with us, because there are some things that will hopefully lead us in a much better way and help us to embrace whatever challenges is that we have or whatever goals that we have on our own. Here's the first thing, though, from Proverbs chapter 19, verse 1. Better is integrity even if you're poor. And you say, what does that have to do with New Year's resolutions? Well, we're all trying to get better, and many of them are monetary goals or physical goals or some kind of outward achievement. But what the scriptures are speaking of right here is that God values the integrity of your life. God values who you are more than what you produce or what you do. And the rest of that can flow out of it. But if you don't have that baseline, that foundation first, then the rest of it's going to be really hard to achieve.
Right.
At least achieve of any value. Go back to the Bible study. In verse 1, it says, getting to verse 19, better is a poor person who walks in his integrity. So a poor person, it actually does mean monetarily poor, not spiritually poor, not poor in opportunity. It means somebody who's broke. So This is your verse. If you're broke, if you're starting off 2025 and there's not a comma in your checking account, matter of fact, there's not even 3 digits in your checking account. This is your verse, because better is a poor person who walks in his integrity. Now, the word integrity is tome, and I find it interesting. The word tome in English can mean like a large book. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if there's not an etymological background, because the word tome, well, we have integrity here. It not only means integrity, but it also means completeness, like the whole volume, like all of it. And so
it's interesting.
The teaching here is God is saying in his wisdom, it is better, even if you don't have resources, if you will walk in integrity, in the completeness, in the quality of who you are. Now, this word tome, it's got lots of ways to interpret it. Completeness, fullness, innocence, integrity. Mm-hmm. I saw one translation said purity. So here it is. You may not have everything that you want, and your goals might be to attain some things. And that's okay so long as the thing that you're building that on is your integrity. And when it says walk in that, we've heard that throughout Bible study. Walk in the Spirit, keep in step with the Spirit. Mm-hmm. What do you think it means when it says to walk in integrity?
That it's not, I take that as it's not a one-time thing, that it's something that you do as a lifestyle. Yeah,
it's really the patterns of your behavior. Mm-hmm. It's not like a one-off or I wish this or this is my value. It is how I step every day. So you can say, well, I love working out. Well, how often do you do it? I never do it. I go
to the gym. I just sit in the parking lot.
Yeah, or I stand around and drink coffee with the old guys. That's what I do. The walk is you have integrity, you have a completeness, a wholeness, an innocence, a purity, and you're going to walk in that.
Yeah.
And God says, we may value it differently. Say, hey, God, is it okay for me to be innocent and rich? Is it okay for me to be complete and have some stuff? And it's not arguing against that. But what it is saying is that the highest value has to be on who you are and who God is making you to be.
Yeah.
That's where it's got to begin. So whatever your goals are, just understand that that's where it has to be. It says, once again, in verse 1, better is a poor man who walks in integrity, but then the second half of it, than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. So obviously we would say, well, of course it's better to be anything other than a crooked-speeched fool.
Right.
But what the implication is that you can probably have some stuff if you have crooked speech and you act a fool. And so even though there are those who do have, or they've attained, or they've achieved, if they do it through crooked, perverse, broken speech, the word crooked person means a person who is dishonest, immoral, or evasive.
Mine uses dishonest.
Dishonest. Mm-hmm. So if you're that, it says better. And I know it's hard when you don't have money and you're eating rice-a-roni for the 15th time this week.
Actually, rice-a-roni is kind of expensive.
Well, there you go. Sorry. Or whatever it is, right. while these crooked, perverse people are out eating out all the time, or they don't have any concerns. God is saying, before you take a step forward, before you get any other value this, that walking in integrity, in the simplicity and the innocence of who he wants you to be, that's the beginning. So to be a better you, that's where it begins. Now, the second part is the part that really made me choose this, verse 2. Read your verse 2 again, and then I'll read it in ESV as well.
Enthusiasm without knowledge is no good. Haste makes mistakes.
Desire without knowledge is not good, and whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way. So better is integrity even if you're poor, but here's the second part. Knowledge betters your passion. It's not that it says it's better for you to have this than passion. It's saying that if you have this passion, if you have a desire, the word desire actually is really interesting in this passage, because the word desire is actually another word for soul. If you have a soul in the heart of you, this is what you beat for, life is softball, that kind of stuff. Whatever that desire is, But it's not saying that the desire is bad. What it's saying is that desire without knowledge. So just kind of an impulse, a not thought out, a not prayed out desire for you to latch hold of something and have passion and desire about it without thinking it through, without having knowledge, says it's not good. As a matter of fact, the second part, whoever makes haste with his feet misses the way. Haste is another word for rush. So let's just talk about this. How many times do we get in trouble because we did something out of opportunity? We did something out of impulse, or we did something and we just had to rush through it because of timing. Has that ever got you in trouble?
I'm sure it has. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, but they are many and not far between in my world. Just even on weekends, as I'm putting slides together, I can tell the weekends that I have really put thought into it and prayed over it and gone over, and other weekends where I rushed it through because while we're doing tech check, the worship team is like, hey, you might want to look at this, or hey, we're just reading your slides as you're rolling through, and that haste causes, what does it say here? For the feet to miss the way. Actually, with his feet missing the way, actually is one word in the Hebrew, and it's just to err. When you haste, you err.
Haste makes mistakes, is what mine says.
That's it. It's about mistakes. So where does it begin? It says, first of all, don't run after things until you built the foundation on walking in integrity. And why is that? Because if you have a passion that you haven't thought through, prayed through, then you will rush to judgment. You'll rush to get these things, and that's always going to lead you to error. Now, how many times I just want everybody who's listening to think about this. How many times have you said, oh, that looks good, and you ordered it right away, and then it was a stupid order?
Oh.
Can I say one word? Temu. Temu.
Fair.
Or how many times have you made a quick decision based on a comment or something that took place, and that led to error? That's what he's saying. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know what I think? I just think of the I can't remember what it was called. It was a 5K that we signed up for because I can't even remember. Love Life Run?
Oh yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And I have no business doing a 5K. None. Zero. Ever.
How many Ks should you do?
None. 0 Ks. None Ks. And I remember, but you have the cardio of.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't give
forever.
I know it's weird. I don't understand that.
Sorry, I cannot. But we signed up, and you were like, no, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I just don't want to be the last one. I think I was very close to the last one. I was just in front of great grandma pushing a stroller kind of thing, but that was done in haste. And it was a mistake because I thought I was going to die.
You should have just donated and not entered.
Just give them the money. But it was a terrible idea.
Well, and some of us at the beginning of the year, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Well, you might, but not this month. Right? I'm going to start working out every day super hard. And by the third day, you know what they call the second Friday of January? They call it Quitter's Day.
Quitter's Day. That's what I was
Quitter's Day. Because people, they do that.
Is that tomorrow?
It's coming up. That's it. Depending on when you hear this recording, that is.
Oh, that's true. Sorry.
But the
10th.
You get out there and you start running and you say, I'm going to run 5 miles a day. And you haven't run a mile in 5 years. Well, that's a decision made in haste. That's going to lead to error. So you need to have some knowledge. You need to pray through some things. First of all, build a foundation on walking with integrity. Then understand that knowledge will better your passion. You may have a passion, but knowledge will better your passion. And then go all the way back down to verse 19. And this may seem like a stretch to some, but not to me. The whole chapter is dealing with this rush to judgment, this not thinking it through. Verse 19, I think, is one example of a capstone on this argument. Go ahead and read yours again. I'll read mine in the ESV as well.
Hot-tempered people must pay the penalty. If you rescue them once, you will have to do it again.
A man of great wrath will pay the penalty, for if you deliver him, you will only have to do it again. And why is all this? Let's do our 3 points here. The first one was you build on the foundation of your integrity and you walk in that knowledge will better your passion and don't rush into these things. And finally, consequences make us better. You want to become a better man, understand that consequences make us better. Now let's study this verse and we'll see why. The word where it says a man of great wrath, the word wrath equals fury. It's an intense anger. And that, once again, is that result of impulsiveness, that it just fires up, it flares up. But what does it say about that man of great wrath? They will pay a penalty. There is a consequence for irrational, abrupt, difficult
temper.
behavior, hot tempers, but I think you could extrapolate it out more than that. Laziness, slothenness, almost any of those extremes, you're going to pay a penalty. You see that throughout Scripture. Matter of fact, one of the verses I was deciding against either this week or next week, I can't forget, is the lazy person decides not to plant and then goes, where's the food during the harvest?
Yeah.
Right? So it's consequences. But the second half of that is what's really important and what I want us all to focus on. For if you deliver him, so there's a man of great wrath, there's a man that did something that requires consequences, but you deliver him. You keep him from those consequences. Parents with your children, let's talk about this. And this is a struggle for me because I want to protect those that I love. But if you deliver them, you will only have to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that deliver means to listen to these words that can be translated for deliver: to rescue, to exempt, to comfort, and this one's really interesting, or to hire. To hire. That's one of the ways you can use that word for deliver as well. I'm just going to hire them. I'm going to give them a job. I'm going to employ them here. I'm going to establish them in this, and they're not ready for it. They haven't earned it. You're giving them an out. And what it says is, if you deliver them, you will only have to do it again and again and again. And that's that repetition. So.
Wow.
It's a challenge, isn't it? Now,
Yeah,
here's
for
the part. The CPXL challenge for us is, who do you need to help learn from consequences? And I know we're probably all doing this. I got a kid, or I got a friend, or I got a coworker. Sometimes that person you need to rescue is you. As we're making these plans for our own life, we will excuse and exempt ourselves and comfort ourselves. I mean, have you ever failed at something and then found yourself eating ice cream? Or you got too much to do, so you watch Netflix all night. That's a self-soothing, comforting thing, and all you're doing is setting yourself up to repeat the same behavior again and again and again.
Yeah,
and again.
digging a hole.
Yeah. So in this, to be a better you, we go back to the beginning. It requires that you and I would establish a foundation of integrity, and we would walk in that. We would draw close to the Lord. We would make our relationship with him, we would make our spiritual life the primary and dominant thing. Then we would take the passions that God has put in us and not run headlong into those, and make sure that the passions that we have aren't ones that we picked up out of our sinful nature. But we would use knowledge and prayer, and we would let knowledge make our passions better. And finally, we would understand that consequences have a place. And those that we love need to endure consequences if they're not going to be using wisdom, if they're not going to do that. And you and I need to respond to consequences and say, God, I don't want to repeat this pattern again and again and again. So I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to submit this to you, and I'm going to be a better me by letting more of you work through me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what's your resolutions for this?
Well, I'm going to be honest and
And say you don't have any.
I don't know that I have any. Day by day.
Yeah, it's
day
not.
by day.
It's not. You don't need resolutions. What you need are commitments to move in the right direction. I am working on losing weight. I'm also working on 3 big projects for the church that are coming up. I've got a number of things that I want to accomplish. But if I don't start with where I am personally and who I am with the Lord, if I don't understand that the consequences I'm facing are, what is the old statement? The system that you've built is giving you the results that you deserve. And so I got to just embrace that. But each and every one of us, to be a better us, build that platform, get some knowledge about what it is that we have these passions about. And then finally, put yourself in that place where if there's a consequence, we let the consequences teach us, or we let the consequences teach the ones we love. Amen?
Yeah, that's hard.
Doesn't sound like fun.
No.
Anyway, I hope you're having a great new year, and I hope this does not dissuade you from having a great new year. What I hope this does is I hope it says, here's some tools, here's some resources. I do want to move forward, but I want to move forward in a real and godly way.
Yeah.
So take the CPXL challenge, and let's learn from some consequences. We love you much. We'll see you again real soon on another edition of CPXL.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of CPXL. We hope that you have been challenged to go further and grow deeper. If this podcast has been a help to you, we ask that you would like, comment, and share on whatever platform you use. And if you'd like to access additional resources, go to CrossPointChurch.com. We will see you again soon on another edition of CPXL.